Okay, so let's dive right in. We're going to look at the absolute breaking point in Lord of the Flies. I mean, these are the chapters where everything the boys try to build just completely shatters. It's the moment that line between being civilized and being savage, it's not just crossed. It's totally wiped away.
And it all kind of boils down to this one terrifying chant. Seriously, this isn't just some silly phrase. It's like a fever, a sickness that's taken over the whole island, this mob mentality that's about to have some really, really devastating consequences. So the big question is, how on earth did they get to this point? Let's break it all down.
All right, so our story here kind of splits into two paths happening at the same time. First up, we're going to follow Simon on this quiet, lonely journey. While pretty much everyone else is just spiraling into chaos, he's the one climbing a mountain trying to find some answers.
So you gotta remember, Simon just had that super creepy, hallucinatory chat with the Lord of the Flies. Yeah, the pig's head on a stick. He's weak, his nose is bleeding, he's in rough shape, but he just has to go face whatever's on that mountain. This beast that's been scaring everyone. He needs to see it for himself. He's got to find out the truth.
And when he gets to the top, what he finds, it's not some terrifying clawed monster, not at all. It's just the body of a dead parachutist, a victim from the war in the adult world, so far away. And his parachute lines are all tangled up in the rocks, right? So when the wind blows, this body, it sort of sits up and then bows down. It's grotesque, but it's also the key. Simon has this huge realization. The beast was never real. It was never alive.
So, this is absolutely crucial. The beast was just a dead man, a ghost from the grown-up world they escaped. The real monster on the island? Well, that was the fear growing inside the boys themselves. And it's a fear that Jack has gotten really, really good at using to grab power. And poor Simon, he's the only one who actually gets it. You can just imagine, he's suddenly filled with his desperate need to tell everyone. He's got to get down that mountain and let the others know. Hey, the beast is harmless. You have nothing to fear. I mean, this news could save them. It could pull everyone back from the edge. So he starts stumbling down the mountain, heading for that firelight he sees down on the beach.
But while Simon is racing down with the truth, a totally different scene is playing out on the beach. Over at Jack's feast, there's a literal storm brewing overhead, and it's a perfect mirror for the storm of violence that's about to erupt among the boys themselves.
And get this, even Ralph and Piggy, the last guys holding on to rules and order, they can't resist. That smell of roasting pig, that primal need for food, and just the desire not to be left out, you know? It pulls them over to Jack's side of the beach. Of course, they tell themselves they're just gonna, make sure nothing bad happens. But let's be real. They're hungry and they're lonely.
And this is the real showdown. Jack, sitting there like some kind of king, he throws down the gauntlet. He challenges Ralph's leadership right in front of everyone. He's offering meat, fun, and here's the kicker, protection from the beast. A beast he's learned how to control for his own gain. And right as the thunder cracks, the boys make their choice. They leave Ralph, they join Jack. The power has officially completely shifted.
So the storm finally hits, and Jack can feel the fear rising in the boys. He's smart. He knows he has to control it. So what does he do? He yells, "Do our dance." It starts out as this kind of ritual, almost a game, but it builds, and it builds, until it's just this frenzied, mindless mob. They're not individual boys anymore. They're just one organism, lost in the rhythm and that awful chant.
And right at the peak of this madness, a figure comes crawling out of the dark forest. It's Simon. He's exhausted, he's desperate, and he's trying to shout his news, trying to tell them about the dead man on the hill. But in the chaos of the storm, the flickering firelight, the boys don't see Simon. All they see is a thing. They see the beast. And that chant, it starts up again, but this time it's louder, more frantic than ever before. The boys are just completely lost in this terrifying group hysteria. They surround the figure. Finally, they have a target for all their fear. And in their heads, they're not murderers. No, they're heroes, destroying evil.
The circle tightens, and the boys, and this is so important, even Ralph and Piggy, get swept up in the energy on the very edge of it all. They descend on Simon. With their bare hands, with their teeth, it's brutal. And just like that, the one boy who knew the truth is killed by the very same fear he was trying to destroy.
The storm passes, Simon's body is washed away by the tide, and in the quiet, awful light of the next morning, the boys who are left have to face what they did.
So that little society Ralph tried to build, It's completely crumbled. All that's left is him, Piggy, and the twins, Sam and Eric. Just 4 of them. And they're bruised, they're exhausted, and they are absolutely haunted by what happened.
And how they all deal with this trauma, it says everything. Ralph, he's just horrified. And he's the only one brave enough to call it what it was, murder. But Piggy? No way. He just can't accept that. He starts desperately trying to explain it away. It was an accident. It was dark. We were scared. He's doing anything he can to protect what's left of his mind.
So everyone finds their own way to cope, right? Ralph is just drowning in guilt. Piggy is in complete denial. Sam and Eric, they just lie, flat out, saying they left early. And then there's Jack. What does he do? He pulls off this incredible act of political spin. He tells his tribe the beast can disguise itself, that it can't be killed. Why? Because as long as they're afraid, he stays in power.
Okay, so Simon's gone, the truth is buried with him, and Jack's tribe is now running the show. The very last pieces of that old civilized world are about to be ripped away, and it's all going to happen in the dead of night.
So picture this. Ralph, Piggy, and the twins are all huddled together in their little shelter. They're terrified, and then they hear something, noises right outside. Is it the beast? Is it just their own fear messing with them? It's pitch black, and their imaginations are just going crazy.
And then bam, the shelter is attacked. It's Jack, Roger, and one of the other hunters. The fight is just a total mess. It's dark, it's chaotic, just kicking and punching. Ralph ends up fighting Eric by mistake. Piggy is basically helpless. This isn't a battle. It's just a brutal, ugly mugging.
So the attackers disappear back into the night, and a dazed Ralph says, "I thought they wanted the conch." See, in his mind, the conch is still the ultimate symbol of power. It represents rules, meetings, democracy, all that stuff. He really thinks that's what Jack was after.
But he's wrong. Jack couldn't care less about rules anymore. They didn't come for a symbol. They came for a tool for survival. They stole Piggy's glasses, the one and only way they have to make fire. They've stolen the power of technology, the power of intellect, right off his face. And that leaves us with this final, chilling question. The conch? It's just a shell now. It's worthless. The power of reason, the power to plan ahead, all represented by Piggy's glasses, that now belongs to the hunters. The island is ruled by one thing and one thing only: brute force. So you have to ask, what hope is left? What hope is there for Ralph and the tiny, fragile world he tried to build?